Hi, it's me Jacqueline. Welcome to my channel. If you're new to the channel, then please subscribe my channel and visit my Patreon page, link in the description.
By Thanksgiving, I felt that I had plenty to be thankful for. I had a new name and a new life. I knew that I still faced many hurdles, but I had made my decision and I would continue down the path I had chosen. With the onslaught of the colder weather, I had given up skirts in favor of jeans, but they always hugged my body and reinforced the image of my being a girl. I fixed my hair every morning and never wore it in a ponytail except at home. There probably wasn't any need to keep driving the point home, since everyone seemed to believe it now, but I enjoyed doing it. I still couldn't use the girls' restrooms. With the certain knowledge that I would still look and sound like a female after school had finished for the year, I decided to line up my summer employment. The Tuesday after Thanksgiving, I called KBXF and asked to speak with Mr. Graham. When the receptionist asked who was calling, I gave her my name. Ashley? Hi, it's Janice. How have you been? Hi, Janice. I'm doing fine. How are you? Great. I'm getting married in June. That's wonderful. Congratulations. I assume it's Dave. Who else, after 3 years together? I finally got him to pop the question. I'm so happy for you. I hope that I'm invited to the wedding. Of course. Will you be out here? I hope so. If not, I'll make a special trip. I'll add your name to the guest list. Are you going to ask Mr. Graham for a summer job? Yes, I'm hoping that something will be available. But I'll make sure that I have your day free. Wonderful. I'm glad that I was here to handle your call. Hold on, I'll put you through. A second later, Mr. Graham's secretary answered. I told her who I was. Miss James, it's nice to talk with you again. Did you get that job with the station in Massachusetts? No, I didn't, but thank you for asking. I had too much going on, so I never applied. That's too bad. They sent a letter thanking Mr. Graham for sending them the demo tape. My situation has changed again, and I'm going to be available this coming summer. I was wondering if the station might have any reporter slots open for the summer. It's a little early to know that, but I'm sure that Mr. Graham would like to talk to you. Hold on, and I'll put you through. A second later, I heard Ashley. Hi, Mr. Graham. It's wonderful to hear from you. How are you doing? I'm doing fine. How's everything at the station? We're doing good. Are you working? No, I'm just going to school. I was wondering if you'll have any positions open this summer. We'll make one for you if we don't have any vacant. Will you be able to work full-time? As many hours as you need me. Good, good. We were just talking about you last week. Me? Yes. We were discussing starting an intern program for high school kids. As you know, we already have several intern positions for college students, so the idea is to create an available pool of younger local talent before they get enticed away by the big stations. That sounds wonderful, Mr. Graham. If it comes about, it will all be because of you. We had always ignored the local high school kids because we felt they weren't mature enough to be seriously considered for important jobs. You opened our eyes. I wish you were living out here. I've talked it over with my mom a few times. And she's considered it, but it would be difficult, financially. If you'll sign a contract with the station, we'll help with your relocation. We'll help you find a new house, pay the moving company, and help you sell your old house. Really? Really? How long of a contract? 1.5 years. We wouldn't want to keep you from going to college when you graduate from high school, but we'd hope that you might want to work for the station after college. You'd want me to start right away? As soon as you could get here. You have a reporter job open? No, we have an anchor job opening soon. Who's leaving? The woman who replaced you. She hasn't been happy in our little community here, and we haven't been entirely happy with her. She's asked to be released from her contract so she could pursue a job in a large metropolitan market, and we've agreed to release her as soon as we could find a replacement. That was what led to the discussion about high school interns. Mr. Pilera said it was too bad we couldn't find another Ashley James. So you'd want me to co-anchor the 6 and 10 with Dawn? Exactly. What do you think? I'd love to come back. I'd be there in 2 days if it was up to me, but my mom has to make the final decision. Tell her that you'll resume work at your former anchorwoman salary. That should help with the expenses until she can find a job. Okay, Mr. Graham. I hope that I can convince her to move out there. Tell you what, I'm going to assume, for the time being, that you'll be coming to join us here in a couple of weeks. I'll hold the job open for you, even though we've already begun conducting interviews, so I'll need to know as soon as possible. I'll speak with her as soon as she comes home from work, and I'll call you tomorrow or Thursday at the latest, if she needs to think about it for a full day. Okay, Ashley. I'll talk to you then. Goodbye, Mr. Graham. And thank you. After I hung up the phone, I felt like I was soaring in the clouds. I had missed working at the station since I had left, and now I was being offered the opportunity to return. I felt like doing handsprings and probably would have if I knew how. But instead, I forced myself to settle down and start my homework. I wanted to have it out of the way while I worked on Mom tonight. I found it hard to concentrate, but I kept redirecting my focus back to my schoolwork. I waited until we were eating dinner before I told Mom about the job offer. They called here. No, I called them to tell them that I would be available for work in June. And they offered you your old job as anchor at a salary of $5,000 a week if you can start soon? Yes, the woman who replaced me wants out of her contract. But wouldn't you still have the same problem? You can't take the physical for health insurance. You thought that Suzanne might be able to help. Maybe, but we can't ask her to falsify documents. How about if I decline the insurance? That might work. But the station might wonder why you've refused coverage. If we didn't have to move, I could tell them that I was covered by your policy at work. I'll have to quit my job, though, and the health insurance and life insurance policies will expire 30 days after I leave the company. What should we do, Mom? Do you want this? More than anything. She took a deep breath and then nodded. Okay, we'll go for it and hope that we can find a way around the insurance problem. We might find ourselves in a strange city with you and me both out of work. I'm sure Aunt Sharon and Uncle Bob will help us a little if things get too bad. And I have the money that I earned this summer. That's for your college education. I wouldn't want to touch that unless we're destitute. I called Mr. Graham the next day and told him that we were coming to Illinois. He said that he was delighted with the decision and that he would immediately find a real estate agent that would help us find a house and sell our old house. He'd also have his secretary make arrangements with a moving company to pick up our household possessions and bring them out there as soon as we could fix a date. Mom had already called Aunt Sharon and told her of the planned move. She told Mom how excited she was and that she'd start looking for homes immediately. I knew that we'd never get anything as great as their house, but in visiting a few online brokers, we discovered that the real estate prices in Illinois seemed to be a bit lower than the prices for homes in Massachusetts. We hoped that we might be able to trade up a bit, but our present two-bedroom home was fine, and we'd be happy to get something as nice. Mom gave her 2 weeks' notice at work and found that with her unused vacation time and personal leave time, she'd get an extra 3 weeks' pay after leaving. It would come in handy. A representative from the moving company came to look at our house and estimate how much space would be required on a truck capable of carrying the contents of several homes at once. He gave us a lot of folded cartons and told us to call if we needed more. Jennifer was extremely upset when I broke the news to her, but I asked her to come visit as soon as we were settled, and she came around a little. Until I had contacted Mr. Graham, I had only worn jeans to school. I had retired my original jeans and picked up several more pair of the skin-tight type. But since making the decision to move, I had started wearing skirts most days and dressing as a girly girl. The other kids had come around more and more, and I had begun to feel more welcome than I ever had as Jimmy. I would definitely miss the girlfriends that I had grown up with and who had been so supportive during the past month. I felt sure that they knew the truth about me, or thought that they did, but they had never questioned me. I continued with school for the 2 weeks that we had left, but it seemed that whenever I wasn't in school or sleeping, I was packing boxes. I didn't know that we had so much stuff. Mrs. Corvar seemed happy to see me leaving, and she had smiled when I gave her the letter from Mom that announced our planned departure. She informed me that my school transcript would be forwarded when my new school requested them. She asked about our plans, but I simply told her that my mom was being transferred. I don't think we rested until the moving van pulled away from the house with all our worldly possessions sealed up inside, except for what we had in our suitcases or the trunk of the car. Our final evening meal in my hometown would be at Jennifer's house, so we closed up the house and drove over there. The real estate agent already had a key to the house and would begin showing it to prospective buyers as soon as tomorrow. Jennifer welcomed us when we arrived and invited us to come in and relax. Although the movers had done most of the heavy work, we had worked hard finishing up the final packing and were happy to sit down. Mrs. Crowley came up from her basement workshop and we talked while we waited for dinner to cook. "I had a chance to watch the tape that you gave Jennifer," Mrs. Crowley said to me. "It was wonderful. And now you're going back to work at that same station." "Yes, I loved it there. I did the 6 o'clock and 10 o'clock news programs during the week and sometimes had other assignments on weekends, like covering parades or special events." "That's so exciting. We'll be able to tell everyone that we knew you before you became famous." "Too late, Mom," Jennifer said. "Michelle is already famous out where she's going. One of her news stories was even seen nationally last summer. Well, she'll be more famous now because she'll be doing it permanently instead of as a summer job." "How will you handle your schoolwork, Michelle?" "I'll have to go to the station right after school each day to prepare for the 6 o'clock broadcast, but once that's over, I'll have plenty of time to do my homework. Unless something of unusual importance happens, the broadcast at 10 is almost the same as the broadcast at 6. A lot of stations in smaller markets just replay the earlier broadcast to save on staff size, but KBXF does 4 live news broadcasts each day." "I wish we could pick it up here," Jennifer said. I smiled. "If anything special happens, I'll send you a copy of the broadcast." "When do you start?" Mrs. Crowley asked. "On Monday the 3rd, I said. I'd like to start sooner, but the person I'm replacing asked to finish out the year once she'd been informed that the station had found a replacement. The extra 2 weeks will give us time to do some house hunting and get settled." "You mean you don't have a place to stay yet?" Jennifer asked. "We'll stay at my sister's house for a couple of weeks," my mom said, "until we can find a house or a condo to rent while we search for a house and have the closing." "It's nice that you'll have family close," Mrs. Crowley said. "Yes," Mom said. "It's been lonely here since they moved away, and my mother moved to Florida. When Michelle goes off to college, it'll be nice having my sister's family nearby."
Please subscribe for the next part and visit my Patreon page for early access.